much for this opportunity to talk to you about Estonia's educational system.
Hello, I'm Adara. As we know, you are the Minister of Education and Research of Estonia since last April, as a result of the new coalition government by the Prime Minister Kaja Kallas. What are your main projects for the next 4 years? And looking back, what has been done in this country to get such great results in surveys like PISA?
You had two questions. You had a question, what are the priorities of Estonian education for the next 4 years? I will start from that. You might not know the background, but Estonian education, general education system, and also kindergartens, we have separate Estonian language schools and Russian language schools. And these Russian language schools and kindergartens are inheritance from the Soviet times, when during the Soviet times they were established on Estonian territory. And one of our biggest reforms that we are going through in next 6 years actually is bringing together those Estonian and Russian schools into a unified education system, so that the kids who study in Russian schools would actually not study separately in Russian schools, but it would be just one general Estonian language-based educational system, where the Russian kids whose mother tongue is Estonian, not Estonian, they have a special support when they need to learn their subjects in Estonian. So this is one of the biggest reforms that we are doing. Yes, it's 30 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union. It took us a long time to get to that reform, but we are doing it right now. And the purpose of this is that all children, irrespective of which language they speak at home, would still go to the same education system and would have the same opportunities in the future in Estonia. The second big thing I think that interests maybe you as well is that we will be extending the number of years that children need to spend in education. So in Estonia currently it's from age 7 to age 17, but generally it's from age 7 to 16, so it's 9 years of schools. That's a compulsory schooling, and we are extending it with 2 more years obligatory schooling, so until the age of 18. So from the age of 7 till the age of 18. You might ask why kids need to go to school longer than before. I think that we need to understand that in 21st century, 9 years of schooling is just not enough when it comes to being capable of continuing education and also being successful in the labor market. And the second question you had was why Estonia is successful in PISA results in education system. I bring you maybe 4 arguments that have been put forward, but they are all not researched to the full extent. I think argument number 1, the reason is that we should really be proud of our kindergarten system, because the children until the age of 7, before they go to school, they have very good quality and accessible and high level education already prior to the school years. So our kindergarten system and what our teachers do in the kindergarten and how the kids are developing in the kindergarten, I think is something that is the basis, the fundamental basis of why the children are doing good at school. Second reason is that Estonian school system, differently from most of the world, I think we are quite exceptional in this. And also maybe Latvia is another country that is similar to us. We exceptionally, our school system is built from bottom up, not from top down. So it's not run by the state. It's not managed by the state. The state is not establishing and running the school system. It's established from the communities, from bottom. It's run by the local governments, and the schools are very much autonomous, independent in deciding how they teach, how they hire teachers, how they teach mathematics or how they teach Estonian, and we very much rely on a very professional teachers on a local level who decide the professional. So it's not Ministry of Education or the state that decides much about the education. It's very much a local level thing. And the third reason, I think, is that our teachers, the way we train our teachers, and this is what we have similar with Finland, is that we have very high standard requirements for those who work as teachers. They have to have a master's degree, they have to have professional qualifications as teachers, and they have to know really their subject very well. So if they are mathematics teachers, they need to study math very heavily, not just study becoming a teacher, but study really mathematics, so, or really physics. So this is, I think, also one of the strengths of our education system. So that would be my answer to your questions.
From the independence of Estonia in 1991 up to now, the country's educational system has changed a lot. How were those changes implemented if you compare it with the time when you were a high school student? And what are the main challenges for your departments since you got in office?
Yes, I went to school in Soviet times, in Soviet Union, and it was very, very different. In Soviet Union, the system was from top down. It was very much controlled. The students, the pupils had no independence or rights. We were pretty much obliged to follow the official ideology. We had to study the official ideology of Marxist-Leninism. We had no independence in developing our own will to decide what we have to study or how we want to study. So the system was very, I would call, rather autocratic towards the student, towards the pupil. So when I went to school, my choices or my will was very limited. I had to just follow the orders. I remember when I went to first grade, I was a very curious kid. I read a lot. All the questions were interesting for me. And during the first year of school, I had serious problems in school with, according to the teachers, with behavior, because I asked too many questions. And that explains to you how the Soviet system basically suppressed children's curiosity. So said, we don't need you to ask questions, we need you to follow what we say. So, and I personally had serious issues with that. And now the education system in Estonia is focused on the student. It's a student driven, so it's a student who is in the focus of our curriculum, our study process. So the teacher in the class is not the one giving orders. The teacher in the class is the one helping and mentoring the students in making their own study process and choices. So I think that's the very, very big difference from the time I went to school in Soviet Union.
In the ministry, you've got to work hard every day to make things work in public education. What kind of things do you do on a normal day of work related to what happens in a school like this?
For example, today I have to go to in front of the parliament to defend one law change, or explain, let's put it this way, to explain the change of the law which regulates in which circumstances the school can decide to cancel the student from the school list. For example, we have to discuss what rights the school has to say that you don't study here anymore. So I'm cancelling you from the student list. This is one of the things that the minister is deciding, and when the parliament is voting about this, and probably I will be spending a couple of hours today in the parliament debating with the parliamentarians about what kind of grounds we need to establish in the law, how the kids can be cancelled from the school lists. The other day, I have lots of meetings with different interest groups who come to meet with the minister and explaining their concerns or proposals for certain changes. Some other days, I have lots of media interviews where I have to explain to media what kind of decisions we are making and how these are affecting the school life. And some other days I have lots of work with my colleagues in the ministry, sitting in the team meetings and team building meetings where we need to decide what kind of changes we start initiating. So I have my colleagues in the ministry, we sit down, we say, okay, we want to change the exam times. Why do we want to change exam times? How do we change the exam times? What kind of impact this has? And we have to prepare all those proposals. So these are examples how I work.
We have heard several times during this research that a happy and motivated student is one of the secrets of Estonia's educational success. How have you, as a country, made that happen, and what part of that success is the responsibility of the Ministry of Education, the teachers, and Estonian society in general?
I don't know if Estonian children are the most happy students at school, but definitely they are happy over the fact that they have a shortest school year in Europe. So they have to go to school the less number of days than the others. And actually, this is something important that I think we need to all understand. Spending more hours at school does not mean that you study more or that you have better school results. I mean, I think Estonia is a very good example here. Our students spend the least number of hours at school. They have lots of school breaks, holidays, and so on, compared to many other countries. But even that, they still do very good results in mathematics and reading and science. So more number of hours does not mean better results necessarily. So I think maybe our children are happy because they don't have to spend so many long hours at school. They have very, very long summer break, almost 2.5 months for the full summer. So maybe that makes them happy. I don't know.
Looking to the future, what do you think can be done from the government to improve Estonia's educational system even more?
I think the key of an Estonian education system is the teacher. If teachers are happy, if they have good salaries, if they have good career opportunities, if the school buildings themselves and the working places are modern and supporting the way the teacher has decided to do the professional methodology, then I think Estonian education system is good. Teachers have to feel supported. They have to have an opportunity to professionally develop. They have to be trusted in what they do. And that's, I think, is important. And then, of course, also the same applies to the students. Happy student is a good result. Okay.
Last question. Estonia has one of the highest results on the last PISA reports. What do you think is the key to this success in areas such as reading and science, particularly among women?
Yeah, as I explained before, I think the reasons are because we have very good kindergarten system, so the children are getting very good basis of the education already at kindergartens. Second, we have a very high level professional teachers, extremely professional high level. We require very high level standards from the teachers. Our requirements are much higher than in many other European countries. And third is our schools are very autonomous. Our teachers are autonomous. The state is not interfering. The state is not dictating. But the school and the teachers themselves guide and decide about the teaching process and learning process. And I think that's the reasons.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for also taking contact, and enjoy your stay in Estonia.